Hello, hello, kids, and welcome. Hi, Mia. Happy to have you back. Welcome, welcome, everybody. We're going to give a minute or two before we get started to make sure everybody gets to come in, but we're so excited to have you all today. We've got a phenomenal workshop in store for you all. I hope you all are really excited about poetry. It's going to be a lot of fun. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Adelina, Alexis.
Hey, hey. Happy
What's the day
Thursday.
tonight? What's the day? One more time.
Happy Thursday.
Mr. Nay is in a scary place. Mr. Griffin tell you about where Mr. Nay is shortly.
You guys.
It's dark and creepy in the Walker. You got to see it with all the lights on first.
Right.
Halloween in July.
I like Halloween in July.
I love it.
Hello, M. Francis. Hey, Shanti. We'll be getting started in about 1 minute.
How can you see the... Oh, there they go. Hey, Alexis. Can they hear us?
They can, loud and clear.
Oh, that's awesome. Can
Welcome.
they see us though, or they just see you?
No, whoever talks, they see you until we get started.
Got it. Hey, y'all. It's Friday Eve. Thursday. That's what my mama call it. Friday Eve. We're excited about today. We're going to learn some spoken word. And I'm going to tell you the funk that the comedians and the poets have against each other. Because we think we spoken word way before them. And it must be nice to hold a piece of paper in front of you while you're talking to people. So we'll talk about that and more coming up.
Ooh, shots fired. Okay.
Shots fired. Poets against comedians. Oh, man.
We actually did a lot of cool, what's up? Of course.
Awesome.
We did a lot of cool events in Atlanta with the deaf poets, the poets from TV out there against the comedians all the time. It was awesome.
Oh, that actually sounds really interesting.
Yeah. It was really cool. I hosted a bunch of those.
All right, students. Hello. Welcome, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us for our third annual Madam Walker Summer Institute. My name is Mr. Devin, and I'm the Programs and Outreach Manager here at the historic Madam Walker Legacy Center, and I am thrilled to be one of your camp counselors for our 2022 Summer Institute. Now, before we jump in, I want to take one moment to ask everybody that's here to post in the chat your location. Tell us where you're from. I'm based here out of Indianapolis. Mr. Griff, where are you from?
I am in Dallas, Texas, but I'm from California, born and raised. My wife is from Louisville, Kentucky. They don't say Louisville, they say Louisville.
Hey, so
Mr. Nay, where you from? Where you at, Mr. Nay?
I am from Naptown, and I'm in Naptown as we speak.
Awesome.
Don't
Good.
Mr. Nay look like the lady from Blackish a little bit, kids? Just a little bit. Rainbow. Hey, Mr. Devin, show the kids your man bun.
They gonna see it in
give
due
us the
time.
Sideways, Mr. Devin. Give us the sideways of the man bun.
I don't know. I lost it. It said don't Mr. Nate look like, and then it was frozen. So I hope it was good.
Rainbow from Blackish.
Little Tracy Ellis Ross action over there.
Right.
We love it. Well, so while you're telling us who you or where you're from in the chat, also let us know who your favorite superhero is. Mine is Black Panther. I love the Black Panther from Marvel. So let us know, who's your favorite superhero? And while you're putting that in the chat, I'm gonna let you know a little bit about the Walker. So the Madam Walker Legacy Center is a historic building located here in Indianapolis, Indiana. The building was named after Madam C.J. Walker, the first African-American woman entrepreneur and business tycoon whose donations and efforts contributed to much of the growth of the Black community here in Indianapolis, as well as many other places here in America. Our mission at the Madam Walker Legacy Center is to continue to uplift her legacy by inspiring, engaging, and empowering individuals in our culturally diverse community. So no matter where you're from, welcome. And we hope to have you back so that you can learn, grow, and celebrate the legacy of Madam C.J. Walker again and again. Enough about me, enough about the Walker. Campers, we're going to go ahead and turn it to our two camp counselors, Mr. Griff and Miss Tanae. But first, let me tell you a little bit about Miss Tanae, and then I'll go ahead and introduce Mr. Griff. Tanae is a creative whose talents include piano, voice, theater, and creative direction in the performing arts. Thank you so much for visiting us today, Tanae.
I'm so excited to be here.
Up next, campers, we have Mr. Griff. He's a comedian of over 25 years, a father of 5, and you can hear him every day, Monday through Friday on AM 1310, The Light, on Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell, your camp counselor, Mr. Griff.
You hear, you hear him. Listen, this is my impression of Mr. Devin. You see that right there? That's me. And Mr. Devin talking. Hey, Mr. Devin, I'm glad you brought up the superhero kids. Oh, Mia says she like Wonder Woman. Let me tell you something. If I could be a superhero, now I like all the X-Men. I'm all about the Marvel Universe. If I could be one superhero, it would definitely have to be Superman. Superman is fresh beyond fresh. Miss Tanae, who would you be? According to that frozen face that Miss Tanae has, she might be one of the people from Flowers in the Attic. That's a book y'all can read when you grow up. Anyway, kids, what color are you feeling? I'm feeling very green. Let me see your colors. Okay, Christy says red. Caden want to be Spider-Man. Oh, Shalandra with the yellow. Me out.
Oh, we're back.
Purple. What color are you feeling tonight? What color?
Favorite color is purple. I just saw somebody put purple in the chat. Oh, we have pink and yellow. Yes, my favorite color is purple with a dash of green.
I like that. My favorite color of all time is turquoise or aqua blue. But today, the color that I'm feeling is green because I want to go. That's what green means today. We are going. Okay, Olivia with the purple and Caden with the blue and Shanti with the purple. I love it. I love all. That's the colors you got to feel away. Genesis is feeling very pinkish today. That is awesome. So look, guys, you already know how I do this all the time. Alexis is saying blue for sure.
Let's go.
What I want to tell you guys is I want, okay. Mr. Devin, I'm just kidding about your man bun. I love man buns. I'm a hater, Mr. Devin. Look, can't you see? I'm a hater. That's all. It's in me. I'm a hater. I got enough right here. Maybe I'll make a beard bun. Maybe I'll make that. We want to shout out our sponsors for the Madam Walker Summer Institute. It's supported by the Lilly Endowment Incorporated, of course, the Indianapolis Foundation, the Christelle DeHaan Family Foundation, Central Indiana Community Foundation, the Indiana Arts Commission, the Arts Council, and the City of Indianapolis. So thank all of you guys. Number one, we appreciate you for giving us the opportunity to learn and to talk about some new stuff and talk about the colors that we feel. So let me go over the rules, and then I'll let Miss Tanae, if she unfreezes, I'll let her tell you about what awesome things we're doing at the Madam Walker Legacy Center. So rule number one, y'all tell me, kids, you know the rules. I'm gonna look around. What's rule number one? Already, pay attention. That's right. But when you say it, you gotta go like this. Pay attention. What's rule number two? Come on. Rule number 2. Number 1 is pay attention. Number 2 is no. That's rule number, the last one. You just said the last one, Chris. Yes, rule number 2 is ask questions in the chat. You got to do that with your fingers so you remember. Rule number 1. Rule number 2. Rule number 3 is come prepared. Where is my, I don't know. Mama! Don't be that person. Come prepared. Rule number 3. Number 4, simple, be respectful. Okay? Be respectful. Rule number 1, pay attention. Rule number 2, ask questions in the chat. Rule number 3, don't be this person. Rule number 4, be respectful. Miss Tanae, take it away.
All right. Thank you for the rundown, Mr. Griff. As Mr. Griff said, my name is Miss Tanae. Just want to thank you so much for coming to day 2 of our second session of our Summer 22 Summer Institute. We want to thank your parents for taking time out to register, and would like to remind you, beginning next week, because we didn't come together on Tuesday this week, beginning next week, we will be together Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday throughout the rest of the month of July, all right? The Summer Institute is a free 4-week virtual camp that started on the 6th and runs through the 28th, and we have everyone in here between the ages of 6 all the way up to our OGs at 14, right? All right. Week 1, let's do a little rundown of what we're going to do. Week 1, we're going to be discussing and going through and breaking down humanities and philanthropy. Week number 2, we're going to put a spotlight on arts and culture.
I love it.
Yes. Week number 3 is going to be self-empowerment, and that's important for everyone under the sun. And week number 4, we will showcase science and technology and have an award celebration. You said what?
Woo!
You said what? Yes, an award celebration. Great. In addition to asking you to join us every session, we have a very important request. And I said it yesterday. Does anybody remember the special request I gave you yesterday?
Oh, I remember.
Do you? Move your bangs.
Look.
What?
Hold on. Look, you can see my lace front. Hold on. Let me break it down some. That's better.
Yes. Can we get a little, thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna put it up. I believe you said if you take pictures, or you can ask your parents to and you can put stuff on Twitter and Instagram at Walker Theatre. At Walker Theatre.
That's it.
Theater.
With the R-E at the end of Walker Theater, okay? Please share with us your fantastic work, especially what you're going to be getting into today.
Nice.
Cannot wait. Mr. Griff, can you tell us what we're going to be getting into?
Let me tell you something. Hey, you guys, we're going to start like right now. What's really awesome about this next guest is 4 people told me she's awesome. Let me tell you something. If 2 people tell you you're awesome in the middle of the day, guess what you are? Awesome. But 4 people tell you, oh, stop it. The awesome meter is like over here. If you had an awesome meter and it was going to red to green, it would be way in the green, which is my favorite color today, I might add. This lady's name is Chantel Massey, and she is born and raised in Indianapolis, Naptown. And I heard she does improvisation, so I might let her slide on the comedy thing. But she's going to teach us some ways, I believe, better ways to communicate. How about that? And you know how we give it up for people since they can't hear applause and we can't see you? We just go in the chat and we do everything. Give it up for Chantel Massey. Boom. Boom. Just like that. Everybody.
In the chat. Look at the chat. Look at the chat. Yes.
There you go.
So much applause.
Touch all the keys. Touch all the keys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tanae and Mr. Griff and all of the Madam CJ Walker team for having me here today. This is so exciting. My name is Chantel Massey again, and I am from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I am a teaching artist, an educator. I am a poet. I love doing workshops around poetry, and so today we are going to be talking about how to find your voice through poetry. So could you go ahead and put up the slide for me so we can go ahead and get started? But I just want to know, have anybody, all the people in the chat, have you all like ever heard of poetry? You could just say yes or no, or do you write poetry? Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. I'm seeing some
Your
yes.
earrings are amazing.
Thank you.
Those earrings are giving me life right now.
Thank you. I got them from She Experience in Indianapolis, Black women store in the Circle City Mall. If you ever here and you looking for a gift or something to give somebody, or you want to, I don't know, just want to go up in there and look at it and support. They have a lot of cool stuff in there. And so, yeah, thank you for that. I wanted to know, have any of you ever written poetry before? So like, yes, I've written poetry. Yes. Okay. I'm seeing some yeses. I'm seeing some. That was like a collection of names.
You got about half yes, half no, Miss Chantel.
Yes, half no. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Maybe more yeses than nos.
Cool. Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know, you'll be finding out today. For those of you who do write poetry, hopefully I help deepen your love for it. And so on this first photo, you see Sonia Sanchez. We'll be looking at one of her poems. She is a scholar. She's a poet. She's an activist, and she's one of the big artists who helped do the Black arts movement in the 60s. And so she helped a lot of people use their voices for social change. And so we're kind of going to be talking about that, even if it's not on that big of a scale, right? Maybe you want to change your community. Maybe you want to change things at your school. Maybe you want to change things in I don't know, in your family, right? Or in your friend group, right? It's just sometimes it's easier to use our voices in the communities that are just close enough for us to touch, right? And so poetry means the world to me. I started writing poetry when I was 8 years old, and I just kept doing it and I kept doing it. And it's always been a way for me to use my voice. It's always been a way for me to express myself and really process and understand the world on my own, and try to just share my own thoughts through poetry. And so our first slide, I'm going to have you can go ahead and go to the next slide. We have a little warm up for you. And so, yes, what is poetry? So poetry is the use of words for self-expression, or to express an emotion or an idea by the use of distinctive style and rhythm. And so this is, in a nutshell, what poetry is in itself, right? And so next after this will be our warm up, actually.
That's why sometimes you poets be sounding spoken wordy, huh?
Yes.
Little kids, this what I mean by sounding spoken wordy. This what they come to the mic and go, I pledge allegiance to the flag, but did I pledge? Was I pledging?
You gotta give you some style to it. You gotta have some music. You gotta have something in there to help express, just drag out the words, which
exactly
Sonia Sanchez is known for doing exactly that.
Yeah.
but it's awesome. So yes, can we go to the next slide, and hopefully we'll get you to do that. So for the warm-up prompt, and you can write it out in the chat. What is voice, right? And what is the power of voice? What happens when you use your voice? Why do you use your voice? And I'm gonna just give you a moment to think about it, answer the question. You can write it to yourself, or but I encourage you again to kind of just put it in the chat. Maybe like a few sentences, right? Voice is power, voice is a gift. Voice is an instrument. See, everybody kind of still might be thinking about it.
I love that. Whenever I think of voice, because I'm a comedian, I always tell people it's so many millions and gabillions of molecules and particles that your ear has to receive audio, that when you speak it, you can literally feel it, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah.
Mr. Devin said voice is power. Agreed.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, look, and voice is a great gift. It's a gift from God. That's a great answer. Thank you.
Who said that?
That was Shalandra.
I like
Fantastic.
it. Voice is a gift from God. To have a voice, that's really good.
It is. Genesis has said, so that if we want to talk, we can use our voice. Absolutely. If you have something to say, you can use your voice. Very good. Love that.
Yes. So you all gave really great examples of what voice is, and what is the power of voice, right? And so in preparing for this, I wrote down that voice is an instrument. You and your person, like your body, your voice is an actual instrument that you can use to, again, move something, anything, a person, or encourage a message, right? I also said to spread a message of freedom. It is freedom, right? To be able to speak for yourself and utilize your voice. And so thank you all for saying what voice is. I'm going to, and thinking about power and thinking about how voice helps us change a lot of things. I'm sure you all can think of some moments where you might have seen or heard somebody use their voice for change. You might have seen somebody use their voice for change when it comes to maybe a choir, maybe something, maybe at some of your schools, maybe there's something that you all say collectively. Maybe, I don't know if you've been watching the news, maybe you've seen some things where people are kind of marching together and they're using their voices collectively, right? So I have some examples for you to see. So we can go to the next slide. So this is a picture from 1963, the March on Washington. And they are specifically in this picture fighting for equal worker rights, right? And so all of these people are using their voices collectively for social change so that they can have equal pay, so that they can have decent housing, all of these different things. And so you may even still see this today in the 2020s, right? So this is a picture from 2020 of the Black Lives Matter movement, where again, we see microphones, we see people, right? They're using their body as an instrument to, like, again, express a message of freedom, to express a message of power. And again, also just using their actual voices, right? And so we're going to be looking at Sonia Sanchez's poem. It's called "This Is Not a Small Voice." And I have this student here at Baylor University who's going to be reading the poem for you.
Ms. Chantel, can you tell us where Baylor is?
I do not know.
Baylor is in Waco, Texas. It's about an hour and 45 minutes from Dallas. And the girls basketball team and the men's basketball team are awesome. I think the men won the championship last year or something, and their football team is really good too.
Cool. Thanks, Mr. Graff.
Yes.
Down the street from you, huh?
Right.
They're the Baylor Bears.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
All right. Well, let's listen to the song.
Uh-oh.
Let's get back to the young lady. There we go. Awesome.
Right.
This is not a small voice you hear. This is a large voice coming out of these cities. This is the voice of Latanya, Kadisha, Shaniqua. This is the voice of Antoine, Daryl, Shaquille, running over waters, navigating the hallways of our schools, spilling out on the corners of our cities, and no epitaphs spill out of their river mouths. This is not a small love you hear. This is a large love, a passion for kissing learning on its face. This is a love that crowns the feet with hands that nourishes, conceives, feels the water cells, mends the children, folds them inside our history where they toast more than the flesh, where they suck the bones of the alphabet and spit out closed vowels. This is a love colored with iron and lace. This is a love initialed Black Genius. This is not a small voice you hear.
What a beautiful.
This is not a
Thank you. So I just wanted you to, so I'm going to read it again. I just wanted you all to like hear it, how it's from somebody else other than me for the first reading. And so I'm going to read it again just so that you can also just kind of take in the words and then like look at how it's looking in front of you on the page, right? So this is not a small voice you hear. This is a large voice coming out of these cities. This is the voice of Latanya, Kadisha, Shaniqua. This is the voice of Anton, Daryl, Shaquille, running over waters, navigating the hallways of our schools, spilling out on the corners of our cities, and no epitaphs spill out of the rivers, out of their rivers' mouths. This is not a small voice. This is not a small love you hear. This is a large love, a passion for kissing, learning on its face. This is a love that crowns the feet with hands, that nourishes, conceives, fills the water cells, mends the children, folds them inside our history where they toast more than the flesh, where they suck the bones of the alphabet and spit out the closed vowels. This is a love colored with the iron and lace. This is a love initialed Black Genius. This is not a small voice you hear. And so I just wanted to ask you, and please forgive me for my reading of it. The words are very small on my screen, so I had to kind of get a little bit closer. But yeah, I wanted to know like what kind of stood out to you all in this poem, and you can go ahead and type something in the chat. It could be a word, it could be, someone's name, it could be a line. Just kind of take a moment to think.
I actually like the part about this is the voice of Latanya, Kadisha, and Shaniqua.
That's what I mean.
Because we have a Shaniqua in our family. So I was like, okay, Shaniqua in the poem.
That's the part that actually stood out to me was hearing names that are from our community, because there's a lot of times that people will have names like Shaniqua and who else is in there? Antoine, Shaquille, and they might be made fun of for their names.
Right.
And this is putting up these names, and they're just putting it up there. If you've ever been made fun of for your name, you can put "I have" in the chat, or you can give me a thumbs up. I used to be made fun of for my name all of the time. So I'm so glad that those names are highlighted.
Somebody said their mama named Shaniqua.
I have a girlfriend from Shaniqua. From Houston. Yeah.
Oh, how about that?
Beautiful name.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anything else that stood out to anybody in the poem?
I liked how it was saying this is not small love you hear. This is large love. I loved how it went in and out of series. It was very intentional, the poem. And somebody said, Christy said they love how it's entitled Black Genius.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good, Christy. That's real good.
Yeah.
There goes somebody else. They auntie named Shaniqua. Shaniqua is out here Okay.
It's a very popular name. And why not, you know?
And why not?
Exactly. So we said Black genius. How did the poem make you feel? Did anyone have a way that it made you feel? For me, it made me feel like I was powerful, like I could go out there and do things. I could change something with my voice.
I felt uplifted. Like I really felt like the young lady when she was saying it, like just her walking in school. Okay, so for me to see the Black girl at Baylor University with all her Letterman jacket and stuff on and walking through the halls of Baylor, like that was powerful in itself, you know, for me.
Yes.
Genesis said it makes her brave.
I
wow.
love that. Mia said powerful too. Great. Anyone else? Did it make you feel anything? And it doesn't have to be, oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's great. And it doesn't have to make you feel powerful like everyone else. The way poetry makes you feel is the way it makes you feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so just to kind of give you some more things about poetry, right? So if we look at this poem where it is on the page, you see that there are 2 stanzas. And a stanza is just, if you think of like a paragraph, right? When you're reading a story. So a stanza is this little block of lines. This first block of lines up here is one stanza, and then there's a space. And then there's a second stanza, and then there's another space. And then those last 2 lines are known as couplets, right? So it just means there's 2 lines. It's a couple of lines. And if you notice, they don't look like a sentence, right? As if you're writing, when you're just writing something regularly, a line is just you playing with words and punctuation in a different type of way. So you can break a sentence, right? And it's still a line in a poem. So like where it says running over waters, and then there's like this space. That is qualifying as a line. Navigating the hallways, and then it continues. So this poem essentially has like 12 to 13 lines, right? Or this stanza has 12 to 13 lines, and then the next stanza does as well. And so she's just kind of like, Sonia Sanchez is just kind of like free writing, right? Where you see all these breaks in these spaces here to let you know, like she's playing with words, she's playing with sounds. Sometimes if someone were to read this, right, this is not a small love you hear, and maybe you can pause there, or maybe you can drag out the word here, as Mr. Griff did earlier, right? You hear something like that, right? And so yeah, now we'll go to the next slide to keep talking about this poem, and thank you all for your feedback. And we can go to the next one after that too. So a poetic device is just like different things used in a poem. So a metaphor, for example, is a poetic device. It's what you're using to explain yourself in your poem. And a metaphor is when you're comparing 2 unlikely things. So I have an example for you. This is the voice of Anton, Daryl, Shaquille, running over waters, navigating the hallways of our schools, spilling out on the corners of our cities, and no epitaphs spill out of their river mouths, right? Because the river doesn't actually have a mouth, right? And so now we're comparing the river to a mouth, and that would make it a metaphor, right? We're putting those things together. Or how running over waters and navigating the hallway, right, of our schools, spilling out on the corners of our cities. Like nothing can actually spill out from our voices to the cities, right? When you think about it in a realistic way, but this is a figure of speech. So it's a metaphor comparing our voices to the water again, saying that it's spilling out, right? This is something that's just naturally coming out from the corners, on the corners of our cities.
So,
right?
Ms. Chantel, can I, so so I can understand. You're comparing one thing to another. That's what a metaphor is?
Absolutely.
So if I say something like, I love pizza, right? So this pizza is so good, it tastes like sunshine. Is that a metaphor?
Yes, that is
It
a
is.
metaphor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can someone try to do give us a metaphor in the chat as well while you keep going, Miss Chantel? Or Mr.
Sure.
Griff, do you know of a metaphor that you could throw out?
Yeah, I don't eat eggs because they remind me of nightmares.
Oh my gosh. I don't eat eggs either.
We're connected.
And everyone talks about us.
They talked about me my whole life. I won't tell you what. Okay, yeah.
Now I will eat egg salad, but like a
I'm not eating
scrambled?
egg nothing. I'm gonna eat egg in a cake and egg in some cookies that's been mixed.
Yes.
But I don't see the egg.
Yes.
But I was somewhere and I was at this very nice gala. I don't even know where it's at. Wait a minute, was it at the Madam Walker Legacy Center?
Perhaps it was.
No, I'm trying because it was recent. I was at some gala and I had something on my plate that looked like a muffin.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really weird looking. I was like, this is a really weird looking muffin. So I bit it and it was all egg. Exactly. That's what I did. Everything you doing today, that's exactly
Help
what I did.
me.
Hold on.
This
Hold on. Here
bar
go.
is
They have
fast.
a whole, the kids are saying a lot of stuff. Let me see. The car is as fast as a snail. Actually, that's more sarcasm than
Right.
Which I mean, it definitely can be
But they're
sarcastic.
comparing.
The
Comparing, we
giraffe
love
is like
it.
the tallest skyscraper. That's perfect.
Skyscraper.
great.
Yes.
Good
Good.
stuff, guys. We just
Thank
wanted to
you.
make sure you understood that real quick. That's good.
Yes,
Great.
good
Great.
examples. Yes.
Mm.
And so the next one, hopefully we can also think of some examples, right? Is personification. So in her poem, she personifies learning, right? There's a line that says, "This is not a small love you hear. This is a large love," right? A passion for kissing learning on its face. Does learning actually have a face? No, right? And so she gives the act of learning its own personality. And she's saying that she's going to kiss it on its face, right? She brings that theme to life, right? And so if you could think of something as an example of personification, that's also cool, right?
Ooh, okay. First of all, that muffin tastes like dirt. Mwah. Very
Let me
good.
tell you something. Let me tell you something. The way I was so cool how I spit it out and nobody saw me. Everybody was talking. I ate. I went like this. Huh. I ain't
Like
say
butter.
nothing. I was so mad at my mouth and the inside. Okay, that's a whole nother.
Like butter. Yeah.
These walls could talk. That is awesome.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Good.
So those
Very
are like great examples. Those are
Yes.
great examples. Or even like saying, this is not a small voice, right? Voice, or this is not a small love. Like those aren't actually persons within
Tangible
themselves,
things.
right? They're not actually physical beings, but she's giving it its own personality again, right? And we can go to the next slide.
Y'all want to see my wife in a muumuu? That could be a.
These next two are just pretty simple, right? Repetition means to repeat something over and over again. And so this line and even the title, "This is not a small voice," was repeated throughout the poem,
Yes.
right? And then the theme or the mood of the poem, meaning the feeling that she wants the reader to come away with, right? The poem celebrates the power of Black individuals and communities whose collective voices is like a sweeping river, right? Spreading love, healing, and creative genius. In addition to recognizing Black resilience in the face of oppression, the speaker also praises Black talent, ambition, and generosity of spirit, right? And so this is like the theme of the poem. This is what she really wanted us to come away with, or what she's why she's writing this poem, right? To demonstrate the power in all of these different things. And so it kind of is working all together when we read it, all right? And also just thinking about other things that you expressed earlier, right? How you felt powerful, how you felt brave, right? Those are themes and moods, like feelings that you have about the poem. And so now we're gonna go ahead and go to the next slide.
All right.
And so now we're at the end, and I'm going to encourage you to write your own poem, right? Using the line, "This is not a small voice," and describe your own unique voice, right? Does your voice have power? What is your voice doing? What do you use it for? Is it just your voice? Are you speaking about the voices of you and your friends and how you're passionate about something that is a concern for you and your community, in your family? So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and
I love that.
You wanna, yeah.
I love that. I was gonna, because I'm sitting here with Miss Tanae and you, I was gonna write. So my whole life they've been laughing at me about my voice, right? Because I've been pretty much sounding like a frog since I was 12. But I was gonna just entitle mine, "This is not a small voice. This is real and right now." That's what I was gonna put. That was gonna be my title. I've been trying to whisper my whole life, like for real. All my kids have been teaching me. I cannot. My voice won't do it. It won't.
Not you.
But you got a unique voice.
I always wanted to talk about people behind their back, but I can't.
See, and that's why you have that voice. You know, it's like it's the plan.
My mother gave me high self-esteem. She would say stuff like, "Oh, you talk like that because you're gonna be in charge of all the angels and how they gonna hear you, because there's millions and millions of angels and they need to hear somebody."
You know what? Mothers are just so sweet.
Aren't they awesome? With the
Because,
and then wait a minute, and then today we would watch Little Rascals, and you remember Froggy from Little Rascals, and his voice was a lot deeper than mine, and he would go, "Guys, let's go to the pool real quick," and we go. And my mom would say, "See, look at him. He got a bunch of friends, and ain't nobody talking about his voice."
See, very distinct.
Well,
and there's a reason.
I'm glad you actually brought that up, because one of the reasons why she even said she wrote this voice was to encourage young people to use their voices, because a lot of times people either overlook young people or they judge them for their voices instead of seeing it as a tool or seeing it as a gift, right? And so she wanted to take the opportunity to encourage the youth to actually use their voices and its uniqueness to spread a message and to also create social change for themselves, because this world is the world they're growing up in and they're going to have to live in. So they should be encouraged to, use their uniqueness to create the world that they want to live in.
Can I brag on one of our campers real quick? The young lady named Genesis, who spelled Genesis in the freshest way ever, Jenisys. She prays on Instagram. Her Instagram is Pray to Jesus with Genesis. She has 63,000 followers, way more than Mr. Griff. And all she does every day is she prays for people. She reads stuff out the Bible. So I couldn't be more proud of that young lady who has been to all of our camp sessions. And she found her voice. She found something she likes. She loves the Lord, and she doesn't talking about God and praying for people ain't hard for her. So as a little kid, she's online, and I really hope she's making a lot of money too. So
yeah, I hope so too. That is wonderful. It's
I'm
very important. Yeah, we are so proud of you. We can't wait to see other things that you are showcasing throughout the year, especially throughout this camp. But I wanted to tell you all that I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but this is an example of how children, young people, can use their voices. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Children's Crusade. It was in 1963. It was a march that had hundreds of children, and they were in there because they wanted to protest the things that were going on, and that directly led to the civil rights movement. So without the Children's Crusade, there would not have been such huge change. So we're not just saying, yeah, you guys have a voice, just to say you guys have a voice.
World.
You really can. You really can. Okay.
Right.
Come on, Miss
right.
Tanae, with the information.
Knowledge.
Right. Because you just
knowledge.
gave me another idea, right? You just gave me another idea how there's a responsibility with our voices, right? A lot of times there's one side where some of you may know of some people who are bullies, right? Or they say mean things or hurtful things with their voices. And that is an example of power, but also somebody who may not be using it in the best way, right? They're not using it responsibly. Whereas somebody who is using it responsibly could be encouraging people, whether through a small kindness, like, I like your hair, or I think that was great. I loved your poem. Thank you for sharing. Even to like a bigger scale, back to the example where the children led the crusade, right? To speak to how these things were impacting them, impacting their families and their communities. So there's a, I know there's some Spider-Man fans, right? With great power comes great responsibility, and your voice is a power in which you have great responsibility as well. And so, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
And young people, just know this: you don't have to finish your poem today. You don't have to finish it. We just want you to have like a little notebook or something, or a folder or something cool, or a drawer where you keep all your stuff from the camp. And then one day maybe we'll have somebody read theirs, or we'll have you read it online. And maybe that's when Miss Tanae was saying you can record yourself. Maybe you have your mom or dad record you reading your poem, and maybe they'll post it on the Walker Theatre Instagram or Twitter.
We would love it. We would love to see it.
And also, if you all have any questions about poetry or anything to that degree, you can also put that in the chat. I'll be happy to.
What about when people, because when you think of poetry, I think of writing, I think of words, I want to quit. Okay, what about roses are red, violets are blue? That's a poetry. I'm gonna tell you, little kids, I'm gonna tell you what book changed my life that I found out later was poetry, and he was using stanzas. It's a man named Shel Silverstein. It's an author named Shel Silverstein, and he has many books, but the first one is Where the Sidewalk Ends. Let me tell you something. When I found out that you could be funny and sarcastic, and then they didn't have to rhyme all the time. Like when I found here, maybe we should have started the whole poetry lesson with that. Poetry doesn't have to rhyme. If you remember that poem, it didn't rhyme a lot. Lady said, this is a little voice, and then she didn't say, and then I had a little coice, and then sometimes I'd be toist, and then it's a voice. Like, it doesn't have to. So when you're writing your poetry, don't think about, I can't write poetry and I'm not a poet. You will be if you keep writing enough. You'll be a whole bunch of things if you keep writing and you keep reading. So don't be so hard on yourself. Cut yourself some slack. It's just the summertime. Stop it.
Absolutely. Has anyone in the chat, heard or read Where the Sidewalk Ends? There was another one. I read it when I was in school. Such a great book. No? Well, this could be some summer reading for you. You could check it out, ask your friends, ask your teachers. Mia has, yes, fantastic.
So we want to ask questions. Genesis, I love her so much. Genesis, I will send you that book. Don't worry about that. How about that? Miss Chantel she's going to answer questions right now. So she couldn't take you on the the very, very long history of poetry and the great poets and the poets that changed the world and Nobel Peace Prize winners and people that went to the White House and all kind of stuff and people who won Grammys for spoken words. So she just wanted to help you a little bit and just kind of break down poetry to you. I think she did a great job. I think we all learned what a stanza was today. Stanzas are awesome. I actually know a rapper named Stanza. That's actually a metaphor in itself. That his name is Stanza. The book Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein is the name of the book. Go to a library. Let me tell you something. Mr. Griff is a bibliophile. What's a bibliophile, Mr. Griff?
Ooh, I love
I'm a
good words.
reader. I'm a book reader. I read 3-4 books at a time. Like I'm always reading. I always want to know. I'm the nosiest person. Instead of asking people, how's you? I'll go read about it. I'll call somebody who did it. So always read. Reading is fun. And then once you read a bunch, then you slowly, my daughter is a great writer because she reads thousands and thousands of books. And because you read so many books, you read everybody's different style, and then you can find your own. How about that?
Yeah.
You got a question for Miss Chantel, Ms. Tanae?
I do. Can you tell us some examples of short poems?
Yeah, some examples of short poems. I instantly think of Lucille Clifton. A lot of her poems are very short. And I also thought about her because I know we talked about superheroes at the beginning, and she has some poems about superheroes. She writes short poems. And then there's also haikus, which is a Japanese style of poetry, which I think I just saw that you all have done before, or you may be familiar with. Which if you write a haiku, you can also write a haiku about using your voice. Yeah, and those are just that's an example I can think of. And then that's also a poet I can think of who writes short poems give you a short answer.
No, thank you. So that was Lucille Clifton. I've never heard of her. So I'm going to go and get some research on her, see what information I can find. And haiku. Now, for some people who were here last year, I believe they worked on it, but can you refreshify our memories? Because I think, if I remember, I don't know. Miss Chantel, can you explain haikus to us?
Yes. And so it's funny that we're talking about this too, because Sonia Sanchez also is really well known for writing haikus. But it is where you follow the format 5-7-5. And so you have 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, and then 5 syllables in the third line. And so syllables are just like the sounds of the words, right? So maybe not like a whole sentence, but you just have like 5 beats of the first line, 7 beats of the second line, and 5 of the last line. So
great. Yeah. Thank you. 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. So while you're doing your poem about small voices, maybe that is a form that you can use. Again, that's called a haiku. H-A-I-K-U. Ooh, we're learning Japanese. We're learning stanza. I believe it's Italian. International. Yes. It's an international.
Yes, it means room. So like when you have the first, people oftentimes think of a poem as like a house, right? And so you have your first stanza as the first room that you go into, then you go into another room, or sometimes it's the only room, right? So that's what it means in Italian. It means room.
That's beautiful.
Hey, young people, if you were a teacher, and I know you always wanted to be, couldn't wait to give somebody a grade, huh? What would you give this class today? Learning about poetry by Miss Chantel. What would you give this class from A to C? A++. Wow, that's big.
Oh, yes, another A.
A's.
Top of the pops. We
Come
love that.
on.
Ooh,
A
a
plus
lot
plus
of
plus 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 plus
pluses.
plus 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 plus.
Yes, thank you. Oh, we learned so much today.
Come on,
Yes.
A
Oh,
plus with a hug.
A hug. We love virtual hugs. Thank you. That's great.
That's so cool.
Stanza.
That's so
Wow.
cool. And what was your
Yes.
real quick, young people? 'Cause we got Miss Chantel got poetry to write. What was your favorite part about the day? They said their mommy is a teacher. I know that's right. So you are paying attention. I appreciate
Yes.
y'all. What was your favorite part? My favorite part was when Miss Chantel was blushing because I told her earrings was nice and she couldn't regroup for a second. She said, these little things right here. That's what you talk about, these little, these.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that?
Right.
Making the poem.
Making the
Thank you. We have
poem.
some applause. We loved the applause, the poetry in the video.
The poetry
yes.
in the video. Yes.
Yes, it was a very cool video. We learned about Baylor, where Baylor University is.
Waco.
In Texas. Right? Yes. Your voice is an instrument. We will talk more about that. Make sure you come back for our arts portion. We will definitely talk more about using your voice as an instrument because it actually is an instrument. Just like the piano, just like a fiddle, just like the guitar and drums. Good. And the poetry. Good. Thank you. You all make sure when you finish your poem, tag us. Okay. MSW.
How about this, kids? I'm gonna make a poem and I'm gonna put it on a video and I'm gonna send it to them and we're gonna post it. Or maybe mine will be first and then y'all's will be second. I will call mine Love and I will just simply entitle it Wife. Love.
Isn't that sweet?
I can't even do this, whatever the thing is.
Isn't that sweet?
Love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi. It's nice to see you.
Because we're talking about
Love
poems and the Madam Walker Legacy Center, my wife has on a Harriet Tubman hat. How about that?
I'm going to work out. He is so crazy.
Thank you.
Isn't that awesome?
It is. Whatever you need to do to protect your crown, okay?
Right?
Yes.
That's it.
Right?
You ladies know, right?
That's
Yes.
it. You was talking about the man bun earlier. Now you're talking about our.
I'm a hater. I told y'all.
Mr. Griff.
I'll do to her later, babe.
I appreciate you.
Okay.
Make sure you get the right grease.
Bye.
Beat him up, please. Yes, great. Thank you so much. You all have done great today. We thank you so much for being present, being here. Yes, acknowledgement of the hater. All right.
We want to let me tell you guys this real fast. First of all, can we give Miss Chantel? Can we show her love in the chat? Y'all know how to give the applause. Yes. Miss Chantel is awesome.
Thank you all for having me. This was so much fun.
She's making me like poets a little more
poems.
now.
I'd love to hear them.
But listen up.
Wait.
We have to shout out because this wouldn't be possible for the people that blessed us for the Madam Walker Summer Institute. Is supported by the Lilly Endowment Incorporated, the Indianapolis Foundation, Christelle DeHaan Family Foundation, Central Indiana Community Foundation, the Indiana Arts Commission, the Arts Council, and the City of Indianapolis. One more time, Miss Chantel, thank you. That is Miss Tanae with the freshest mole ever. We will see you guys next week. Have the best attitude. Do what your parents say. Go read a book. Shel Silverstein, Where the Sidewalk Ends. Go to the library. Nobody goes to the library anymore. The librarian will be so happy. Ask for that book and get Super Fudge by Judy Blume, or what's the other one? What's the other Judy Blume, the big one?
Ooh.
Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing.
Yes, they all sound fantastic. We
Real
want you to
books.
read them. We want you to hit us up on socials, okay? We want you to be your absolute best. Make sure you join us next Tuesday for a Kenyete Dance Company. I can't wait.
Oh, they're
cannot
awesome.
wait.
See you guys. Mr. Nay, have a great weekend. Miss
You be careful,
Chantel, have a
y'all.
great weekend. I
You
say
too. Bye,
goodbye because
everybody.
we say goodbye.
Bye, y'all.